Hi everybody, Pam SD, Pam SD Mini Costuming. Excuse my voice if it goes out a little bit today. I'm feeling a little hoarse. I think it's allergies, but you just never know. Anyway, been stringing a BJD. This is an Asian ball jointed doll. It's made of resin and it's quite big, as you can see when I put my hands against it. It's a pretty big doll. Her torso, see the size of her neck. It's pretty big. So anyway, these dolls are done on elastic stringing like an antique ball jointed doll, except they're quite modern. This one happens to be from Korea. The parent company is Volks. In Japan, they started this whole trend, and now there are a lot of companies worldwide that make them. This is an EID Glamour Bust model from Iplehouse in Korea. She's actually a really nice doll. I have a couple of them. So you can see she's in pieces, already strung this part, but I'm going to talk about the joints. You can see the feet here. This foot originally came with a resin hook, but I bought this doll secondhand, and she's got several little issues that have been fixed by the previous owner and a couple that she couldn't fix, so I just took the doll and I'm going to give her a little makeover and a little rescue. So this is a regular teacup hook, and then it's been screwed into the resin foot, and then some sort of epoxy sculpt has been put around it to hold it in place, which always helps. They're actually stronger than the original hooks that come in these feet. They're notorious for breaking. Every single doll in this model that I have, male and female, has broken a hook in a foot at some point and has to be repaired. So let's talk about these legs. So legs come with this really interesting joint. You can see that it closes and it will hold a position actually pretty well. When they're strung really tight with really good elastic, they're even tighter. There's a peanut joint inside, which comes off. You can see right here, I'll get a little close, there's a slot right in here that this slides into. I'll make sure I do it right. Slides right in there, and then it folds up over. This piece is never seen, but it's really great for stabilizing the knee joint. Now you also, maybe you can see on the video that this piece is a different color than this piece, because this piece never sees UV light. Or rarely sees UV light, so it hasn't changed color. Resin's really notorious for turning yellow because it continues to age, and it takes a really, really long time to cure. I mean, it's ready to handle pretty quickly, but it takes years sometimes for resin to reach its final color, and it'll be really pretty when you get it, and then eventually it's this really kind of luminescent yellow color. So always keep that in mind if you think about buying a ball jointed doll, or any doll that's cast in resin for that matter. So it's notoriously unstable at the beginning and then becomes much more stable later. So anyway, this piece goes right up in here. Feel it slide in. Gives it a nice snug joint. You can see that this leg bottom piece is actually a different color than the top piece, also because the top has been exposed to UV. Back of her thigh is a really good color. It's closer to this because she was sitting in a box and her front was exposed, which changed the color more quickly on the front. Eventually she's going to be the same color all over, but that's going to take a really long time, so I'm going to make her a costume that covers her from neck to toe, and I won't have to look at that. So I have already strung the upper body, so I'm going to show you inside. You can see there's a piece of elastic running across here. I used a square knot, and I'm going to trim all of this off. But what I do is I make a loop that's the length from shoulder to wrist and tie it off in a square knot, and that usually gives me just about exactly what I need to go wrist to wrist. So I use this really thick elastic. I don't normally use elastic this thick or with marks on it, because you can see it in the joint. If I show you right here, you can see the elastic right here in this joint. So usually you want to use a solid white, but because I wanted a nice thick elastic so I could get a good strong grip, so that she poses better. So there's a peanut in here as well. I'll just slide that out. You can see the peanut in here. It works exactly the same way as the one on the knee, except that it can be used to give her a much more room to turn her hand. So they are not as delicate as they seem sometimes when you first get them, but I'm going to be putting a giant S hook at the top, and that will get elastic, which will run through the neck all the way out through the torso, and then since it'll be a double loop, one side will come out each side here and then down through the legs. And I like to use satin ribbon to pull, but I don't seem to have the satin ribbon anywhere handy. It has walked away on me, which happens occasionally. Oh wait, there it is. Let me get it and see if we can put the camera back where it belongs. There we go. Okay, so this is a loop of satin, and all I'll really do is I'll take these pieces apart, because you always want to string them one at a time. I'll take her legs apart, I'll loop it through the loop, and then I'll thread it down through, and then I'll pull from the bottom. I like elastic. They make pullers, but it seems to me they always break. They're never quite strong enough. Some people like to use wire, but I find that I can get a better grip on this because I can roll it around a finger to get some grip and actually pull. So I'm going to finish putting this doll together, and then we'll come back and take a look and talk about S-hooks and that kind of stuff. She does have S-hooks in her hands. But and she's supposed to have little pieces that go here to cover this hook, but she did not come with them. Those were missing, and it doesn't really matter because the costume is going to come down over her hands. And anyway, so if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe, and I'll be back later. Have a great week.